What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with one more video. Reasons to remain single. This one was not sent to me. I came across this one through my random internet searching. I think this is gonna be a good video to go through. Listen, at the end of the day, we gotta go through this one with a fine-tooth comb, all right? Far too often on the channel, we go over reasons to get married, right? We go all over reasons to get into a relationship. This, I want to say, is the first time I've done a video on reasons to remain single, which in our society, within our culture, is taboo to want to do that. Let's look. Without further ado.
Anyone who lives alone and manifests no longing to be in a relationship is in our times almost automatically, more or less secretly, viewed as both pitiable and deeply troubled. It's simply not thought possible to be at once alone and normal. This sets us up for collective catastrophe because it means that a huge number of people who have no innate wish to live with anyone else and are at heart deeply ill-suited to doing so are every year press-ganged and shamed into conjugal life, with disastrous results for all involved.
It's a fantastic point. Here's the thing. Like when I have conversations with people and they say, you know, when's your last relationship? And I tell them, you know, it's been a while ago. And they're like, and their first inclination is what is wrong, right? And I like, think of the conditioning. We have been conditioned to assume that being in a relationship or being married is the correct thing to do. And there's stats and statistics that people try to throw up at you, like, you know, married people make more money. They also spend more money too, or that, you know, men live longer when they're all this stuff, right? To me, it's not how long the life is, it's how happy that you are in the life that you're living. So if I live to 100, but married and unhappy for half of that life, I'd rather live till 72 and live way more happier, right? So bump all these arguments. You can always take data and look at a flip side and give a contrarian point. But anyway, what is normal, or what is considered normal, is to be in a relationship. So people say, oh, you're single? What's wrong? How about we switch that? Oh, you're in a relationship? What's wrong? See how weird that sounds? That's just because it's our cultural norms, right? It's just what we're used to hearing. You see what I'm saying? But I think people should be a lot more understanding, because not everybody has personality types that would dictate good relationship people. It just is what it is. I got some friends in my life, some not in relationships and some in relationships, and they should not be in a relationship. They should not be. They don't have the personality type for it, but they have been shamed by society and their mother to find someone nice and special, because it'll make you happier. Okay? Let's move on.
Only once singlehood has completely equal prestige with its alternative can we ensure that people will be free in their choices and hence join couples for the right reasons, because they love another person, rather than because they're terrified of remaining single. Here then are a few of the many good reasons to spend your life alone. Because romantic love is a dangerous illusion. We should recognize that romantic love, the idea of being deeply enamored of one special partner over a whole lifetime, is a very new, ambitious, and really pretty odd concept, at best 250 years old. From close up, over long periods of time, almost everyone is condemned to be pretty dispiriting and difficult. A good romantic marriage is evidently theoretically possible, but it's also extremely unlikely in practice, which should make any failure feel a good deal less shameful.
That is such a fact. You know, it's almost thought of, listen, you know, married people talk about their relationships. They talk about, you know, all of the pain. And I'm not here to say that you're going to get, you know, like a benefit of getting married, or the reality of marriage is not that you're going to experience pain. I think that we all know that. But like this idea of making it to the end of both of your lives and being locked in hand and dying to get right, like all of that, it's all movie stuff. That's generally not what happens. It's generally not what happens. There's too much randomness of life in that play. Like there's too much the likelihood is that's not the likely. That's not the likely. So my thing is, as long as you understand what is the likely and you make decisions on understanding all the decisions that you can make, as long as you make that in an informed way, then it's your life, your choice.
No one thinks their partner is terrific after a while. Those among us who choose to stay single shouldn't be thought unromantic. Indeed, we may be among the very most romantic of all, because it is in the end the fervent romantics who should be especially careful of ending up in mediocre relationships. Relationships best suit the kind of people who don't actually expect too much from them. We aren't sane enough to be in relationships. Though it's a sign of some maturity to know how to love and live alongside someone, it is actually a sign of even greater maturity to recognize that this is something one isn't in the end going to be psychologically capable of, as a good portion of us simply are not. Retiring oneself voluntarily in order to save others and oneself from the consequences of one's own inner emotional turmoil is the true sign of a great and kind soul. Being alone means not inflicting yourself on others. It spares you from constant reminders of how difficult and strange you are. No one is there to hold a mirror up, record your antics, and constantly make you accountable for them. If you're lucky, you'll be able to tolerate and even like yourself if you're on your own.
Yo, I like this video. They just hit so many points. I blew blast the last two because it was just so much information to take it at one time. And this one too is just so much information. I think that this is true. You can be happier. And I say it on my YouTube channel all day. I talk about it all the time. Listen, I think like from a content creator's perspective, what I've noticed is that being on a platform like this and creating yourself, you're in a very dangerous position in an effect of you can alter people's minds, their perception, their ideas, the way that they understand things. Within that being said, making the viewer knowledgeable of how they can be accountable in a situation is not a good YouTube strategy. It's just simply not. No. What is a good YouTube content strategy, right, especially on this component of YouTube, is to focus in and hone in on, right, pointing outward towards the problem, right? And there's a lot of happiness that can be seen with it. I mean, think about your groups and your circles, the echo chambers that you might be in. When everyone starts agreeing with each other, that's a great feeling to have. But to have someone to check you on something off of a belief or ideology, and you have that conflict within that, that's not necessarily a good feeling. However, I do think that that feeling is the best to become the most beneficial type of person for society. One that can engage in conflict and come to an end where both parties are satisfied enough to continue into the future. Not those that just back out and run from shit when shit hits the fan, but those that can hit things head on and be a leader within that. A couple more seconds.
Relationships spoil love. It may be better to feel alone and be denied sex outside of a relationship than inside one. One thing the single are never denied is hope. All this isn't to say that being alone is without problems. There are, of course, drawbacks to both states, being single and being in a couple. Loneliness in the one, suffocation, anger, and frustration in the other.
You know, this is a fantastic point. You know, it's one thing when you try to give a late night text to whoever for a viscosity run. It is different than then being in the same home and then you expect that from that person, and then for whatever reason you can't. Like, you know, those are two completely different things, because one is, well, just call someone else, and the other one is, but I'm locked here and I have no other choice. And this, I don't know when this is going to end.
The truth is, we're simply not terribly good at being happy, whatever our relationship status, which is ultimately an argument for neither rushing too fast into a couple nor rushing too fast out of one.
I think the moral of the story, after watching all that, is like, you can't, right? Like, people that look for relationships to heal some part of their life from a significant other, you will fail 100% of the time. 100% of the time. If you're not whole within yourself first, how can you expect someone else to make you whole? Doesn't make any sense. That comes from the School of Life. Fantastic content. I'll leave a link down in the description box down below. They have a fantastic catalog of different videos as well. So feel free to go up there and to look and to see what's up. All right. Fantastic video. I got to see what else they got up there as well. Might be other dope things to react to. That has been your video. That has been your reaction. That has been my thoughts. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Hit me up. I got a Patreon as well. Listen, the family up there, you know, we talk about things like this. We talk about School of Life type stuff. In order to be able to critically think about this world that we live in and the decisions that we are making to be the most happy and joyous going into the future. All right? I'll see you up there. Until next time, you two. Peace!